Good day, everybody. This is Dario from Gamepires, and today we have a very special guest joining us for a very special video. Mr. Andrew Wailes, the CEO of Playsafe ID, will be answering some burning questions you guys have about the integration of Playsafe ID and SCUM. So, let's get to it.
Hey guys, it's great to be here. My name is Andrew Wailes. I'm the CEO of Playsafe ID, and I'm here to field questions today from the SCUM and Gamepires team. You guys have some great questions, and I look forward to answering them. As a note, I'm going to be answering these questions in kind of like this short video, but there were a ton that didn't make the cut. I'm actually going to record a much longer video where I'm going to go into full detail on every single question in the whole Steam thread, and there'll be a link to that somewhere. But I just wanted to let you know that that's coming.
How do Playsafe and your partners technically protect confidential user data like IDs or face scans submitted for verification?
It's a great question. So simply put, the document and the biometric the selfie that you take when you're going through the verification process, as soon as the verification is complete, those get deleted. I can't go into exactly how this process works because we're currently in the process of filing a patent. We've invented a really cool way to get this to work, and it turns out it's never existed before, which is really nice. But the moment that you share how technical information works into the public domain, you then can't patent it because it's in the public domain already. So rest assured, in the coming months, when all of this is done and dusted, you'll be able to see exactly how this whole process works from start to end, that we are deleting data and how this process works. Because we have to for the patent. We have to have all of the schematics, all of the technical descriptions, everything, and that will be publicly available. But the most that I can just say at this moment in time is when you start the process, you create an account with us. You have to verify with a selfie and a document. That's done on the on Fido and Trust side, and then that gets deleted after the check. So we only get notified whether the check was successful or not. But you'll be able to see all of the full details of that in the coming months.
In the event of a data breach at Entrust or on Fido, your partners, who is legally and financially liable? Is Playsafe liable, or does liability rest solely with your verification partners?
So Playsafe ID is fully liable for any issue that happens with data. So the technical breakdown of this is Playsafe ID is a data controller. We are the data controller. So we are liable for and technically own all of the data. We then have data processors. So Entrust and Onfido is defined as a data processor. They are allowed to handle data on our behalf for the exact and explicit reasons that we permit them to. They're not allowed to do anything else with it. They are only allowed to do the specific thing that they're contractually obligated to do, and they're not allowed to deviate from that. But if there is some form of issue with breach or anything like that, ultimately it's Playsafe ID that has responsibility for that. We are the data controller. We are liable for it. It is our responsibility to make sure that your data is processed correctly and that we choose the right partners. That's that.
How can players trust Playsafe's data security when Entrust has a documented history of compliance failures and data breaches, like the Google Mozilla removal or the SIOP 2025 breach?
That's a really fair question. I actually want to break this one down into chunks. So, first of all, Entrust on the Google Mozilla browser side of things, this was to do with a specific product line called their security certificate side of things, right? So browsers are constantly improving and requiring more better standards, I think is the best way to phrase it, from security certificates. So it's never a one and done product. It's always iterated to be improved. Basically, Entrust made like no money from doing this, and it was an absolute ball ache to do. So they just decided to discontinue this product line. They said we're just not going to do security certificates anymore. So over time, they decided to discontinue support, and as the requirements from browsers kept on increasing, Entrust security certificates stayed still, and they just decided at some point the browsers, Google, Mozilla, we're not going to accept these certs anymore because they're out of date to what we expect. So this wasn't a breach or a problem. I know that one of the things that people like to do is Google about Entrust, see the headline, copy and paste it, and be like, well, if Google doesn't trust them, and it's like, it's not that Google doesn't trust them, it's that Google didn't want their outdated security certificates because they discontinued that product line and stopped supporting them. So it made headlines for sure, but there was no breach there. There was no problem there. It was a conscious decision made by a massive company to discontinue a product line, and the result of that was that product line was no longer accepted by browsers. In regards to Clop and the ransomware bits, this affected back office systems in relation to, I don't know this for sure, but my best guess is like an HR system or something like that, because the class action lawsuit that I saw the details for when we were doing our due diligence was in relation to the employees, because it was employee data that had been taken in that attack. As far as I'm aware, Entrust hasn't actually had a breach to any customer data. And when I say customer data, Playsafe ID is a customer of Entrust. It's all behind lock and key, and they deal with Revolut, Klarna, TSB, some of the biggest banks, financial institutions, insurance companies, and governments in the world. Like, they have the best security going. So, and as I mentioned in my first answer as well, if there was a breach, which I don't believe there has been to customer data, because the document is deleted and because the biometrics are deleted, there's no sensitive information to have stolen, which is the really nice thing about our setup. And that's a conscious decision on our part as well, to have this setup with them. And this isn't a usual setup. We've had to do a lot of work with Entrust to get this to work, this kind of like partnership to work. Because out the box, people who want KYC want to know who someone is. It's about accountability. But on our side of things, we really don't want that. We just want to know you are who you say you are at that moment in time. And yeah, after that, it's okay to have it deleted. Again, I'll be able to share the full details of how this whole accountability and known faces side of things works once we've gone through this patent process. But yeah, their security is amazing. It genuinely is.
Playsafe's privacy policy is very broad. Will you commit to a more transparent and limited data retention policy that clearly states what is being stored, for how long, and for what purpose?
That's really good feedback. I will speak to our lawyers about it and see about putting that stuff in place. Off the top of my head, I don't see a glaring reason why we can't provide more clarity. It's more kind of like for length and structure.
How should players in countries with data sovereignty laws, like Russia, where personal data cannot leave the country, register for Playsafe ID?
It's a really good question, but honestly, I cannot take any stance on it or comment on it in any way, shape, or form. We cannot circumvent or recommend to circumvent any law from any nation or any sovereign territory. So I can't be of help there. I'm sorry on that one.
Is the cost for the Entrust on FIDO service the same for developers globally?
So I'm not quite sure what you're asking with this question, and I know it sounds like a simple question, but let me explain. I don't know about the cost for the Onfido Entrust side of things globally, but we pay our bill to Onfido Entrust for the number of KYCs that we've seen, and it is a standard rate for a check, regardless of where that user comes from. The way in which that we are in the future going to be billing game developers is going to be a license fee based on volume of users that have a Playsafe ID, approximately the increase in value of a user of a Playsafe ID versus a normal user to the game studio. So let's say that Playsafe ID users retain lots more, they play lots more, they're lots happier, they buy more microtransactions, they whatever, their ARPDAUs increase, their average revenue per daily active user. Then we can sort of like calculate, oh, you have 1 million Playsafe ID users, they're twice as valuable as a normal user. You, Mr. Studio, will make an extra 2 million a month, so therefore our license fee will be 500 grand a month, for an example. So our pricing will be variable depending on this increase of volume of the number of Playsafe ID users and the increase of value of a Playsafe ID user from the case studies that we've generated and are generating. And we might have variable pricing. For example, if you're a small indie, it'll be cheaper. If you're a Ubisoft or an Activision Blizzard King or whatever, like a big company, it'll probably be more heavily weighted. And there's a whole lot of balancing to the commercial strategy side of things that some we have figured out, some we are figuring out. But I don't know about, to be specific to your question, I don't know about Entrust on Fido pricing to different regions. I just know what the pricing is for us, and it is a price per check regardless of where that person is.
How does Playsafe prevent a banned cheater from simply registering a new account using a family member's ID, a friend's ID, or AI generated documents and faces? With advanced AI tools available, how can Playsafe be sure that every registration is a real, unique person and not a bypass?
Right, this is a bit of a long answer, but it needs the detail to answer it. So, when first of all, you have to use an official government ID, and you have to take a selfie. Now, you'll notice that you can't upload any documents. It has to be done on a mobile device. This is by design. This is on the Entrust side. It's really, really cool. I got invited down to their fraud lab in London to their head offices, and I got shown all kinds of cool stuff that they do for security of their system, and it's amazing. But the short answer is that SDK that gets invoked on your phone. So when you load it up, it actually changes your camera settings slightly without you like knowing about it, and you can't. There's no way to know what they are. This is purely what the SDK sees. So, for example, it can adjust zoom or focus. It can change the width of the shot. It can change hue, color, tone. It can do loads of stuff, and it basically looks at the information that's coming in, like that's being seen. Does this match the camera settings? Because if you did device injection or image injection to spoof it either through AI or just to take control and with a script or with a piece of software completely change the image, it would see that what's being fed in doesn't match the camera settings, and therefore it's spoofing and reject it. So there's all kind of cool systems like that. I won't go into tons of detail on how they work, but there's lots of tech and cool stuff going on when you're doing your check to make sure that it is actually a real face. This isn't a cheap age estimation piece of software like where you can use a Death Stranding face to to manipulate it. Like it has to be a real live person. This is bank grade KYC, know your customer technology that's used for setting up bank accounts and insurance policies and buying houses. And it's really expensive. It's really effective. It's really good. It's really thorough because it has to be for the finance industry. In terms of the document, when you do your document, it's checked against stolen databases, lost document reported databases. There's this whole network of kind of like security and various agencies and stuff. Like if a document's stolen or reported missing, it can be reported there. So if it surfaces somewhere, it can get caught. So it has to actually be a real, authentic, legitimate government ID. All of the security checks are there through the camera, and then the face, which can't be spoofed, has to match the face in the document. And this is why we have the document check, because in theory, the only thing that we really care about is the face to be able to do this cool bit to make sure no one can get another life, which I can talk about more in a couple of months. But the reason that we have the document check-in is because it reduces the attack vectors exponentially, because it has to be a legit document. It has to be a legit face in the document, and that legit face in the document has to match the legit face taken in the selfie. So it's a really thorough, highly secure system. You can't AI it, you can't spoof it, you can't deep fake it. It really is amazing. Yeah, so every single user actually is who they say they are via government ID and real face, and those matching when they verified.
Are you aware that verified Playsafe ID accounts are being sold cheaply on trading websites? If so, what are you doing to combat this?
Okay, no, that's a really good question. So we've looked long and hard, and we've not been able to find any PlaySafe IDs being sold on any trading website. So if you legitimately have found someone that's trying to do this, please do let us know, because it would be really cool. It'd be cool to be able to see it, evidence it, and whatever. However, the real solve for this, and the thing that prevents accounts being stolen, accounts being traded, accounts being shared, accounts being sold, is our selfie reauth function, which should be in place by the 14th of February. So the selfie reauth is basically if there's suspicious activity detected on your account, or we have a random time-based trigger as well. So randomly, this will just happen. But when you go to connect to a PlaySafe server or PlaySafe ID matchmaking, it'll change your account status to locked. You won't be able to go in. You'll get an email when we have an app, which we're working on as well. You'll get a push notification. But basically, you just have to do the motion-based scan again. So you don't need your document. You don't have to do a full check. And for reasons that I can't, for the patent reasons that I can't go into too much detail on this, basically there's a cool comparison that happens between things of the output of the selfie, but they can't be turned back into the selfie. When the patent comes out, you'll be able to read all of this in detail. It's really cool. We've invented a way for a thing to happen. Yeah.
Can you confirm that Playsafe ID will never be required for offline solo play or joining private or modded servers?
I can confirm that. PlaySafe ID will only ever be required for PlaySafe protected matchmaking or servers. The other thing as well, just to be clear, and you guys cannot believe me on this, fine. But I don't want PlaySafe ID to be the only way to play games. I want this to be an optional extra. And if the majority of people decide they want it, that's awesome. But I would never recommend to a game that's integrating us. And I've had this conversation with multiple games, and me and PlaySafe ID, myself, and Gamepires, we're in complete agreement with this. It'd be a very bad idea to put you have to have a PlaySafe ID to access all servers or offline servers or private servers. It should be an option for if you have a private server and you want to be able to have it protected by PlaySafe, that's cool, but it shouldn't be a requirement. Offline games and solo games, I really don't care because they're not multiplayer. My whole point with PlaySafe ID is I wanted to be able to put I wanted to provide developers and players with a realistic solution to put as much of a dent into cheating as possible. My real stretch goal is to end cheating in games, but of course there'll be people that always cheat, and we've seen that in SCUM. People cheat, we ban them, then they actually can't get back in, which is awesome. But my mission is for there to be, for games to be as fair fun as possible for everyone. So no, offline games, solo games, it doesn't matter because, often those games developers will put in Easter eggs that you can only find if you're cheating because you're supposed to mess about, you're supposed to try and break it. And more power to you. But it's when it's a competitive game or when it's a multiplayer game and everyone has to play by the rules for everyone to have fun. When cheaters come in, it just ruins the fun for everyone, whether that's aimbot, ESP, loot hoovers, a Cronus or a Zim, or any kind of script peripheral that you can plug in. Like that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to fight here. I don't want this to be a prerequisite for gaming at all. I just want games to not have cheaters in them, particularly multiplayer games.
Is the plan to add PlaySafe ID to every official SCUM server, or will there always be a mix of secure and non-secure officials?
No. To reiterate my previous answer where I touched on this in some detail, Gamepires and PlaySafe ID, we're in agreement on this. We think that there should absolutely be regular game servers, regular official servers, where as they are today, and there should be the PlaySafe protected servers for people who want to opt in and play in this optional way where the accountability bar is higher and where cheaters face this real penalty. At no point has there been discussion of or any plan to make this a standard. Absolutely not. It's for people who do want it. If you don't want it, fine, don't sign up. That's okay. Genuinely, I support you. More power to you. But if you do want to sign up, you can. And there is actually now this solution. And we are actually seeing a massive reduction in cheating. And people who are caught cheating are actually kept out. And that's really cool. But it's more power to the player. It's not players have to do this. Don't do it if you don't want to. No one's forcing you.
And that's a wrap for today, folks. Andrew, I want to thank you for taking the time and clarifying some things for our community. I'm sure it means a lot to them as it does to us.
No, thank you very much, mate. They were great questions. And also to the community that took the time to leave questions, thank you, genuinely. Like, I'm not afraid to shy away from hard questions. I'm not afraid to give you the best answers that I possibly can. I want games to be as fair and fun as possible. I want there to be as few cheaters as possible, and I want this to be an optional thing. And if you decide that you trust us, or you decide that you think it's a great idea, or this is something you've always wanted, brilliant. It's here, it's working, and it would be great to have you. And if you're against it, that's completely fine as well. I completely respect your decision. Don't use it. We're not trying to force people to sign up that don't want to. That's completely fine. Yeah, so brilliant questions. If you have any more, we have our community Discord. Feel free to jump in there and ask any more. But this was fun. So yeah, thank you to your community. Great questions, and thank you for asking them, mate. Cheers.
We'll have more info moving forward, everybody, so make sure to follow us on our socials. And that's it for today. This is Dario, signing off.